All right. Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Tim Brost. I'm one of the product specialists, and today we're going to be talking about cloud and how cloud can intertwine with your operational tools in the tool set. So setting the stage is, kind of understanding that I guess like from our perspective, we kind of see in the marketplace that, you know, things are changing. There's labor shortages, turnover is higher than normal. Um, Scale and complexity of systems are growing more and more. Um, the need for information, not only within internal personnel teams, and within an organization, but externally as well, and the ability to be able to easily share that information. Um, and you know, all these different types of things are um, uh, maybe handled one way or the other, but some of them might be better suited to be handled from a cloud solution. Minimizing the IT infrastructure footprint on premises, making it easier to maintain. And, some of the information that we're kind of envisioning for potential cloud, information is, there's no control, right? It's encrypted, secure, and satisfies all the um, um, security standards of like NIST and NERC-CIP in terms of populating that information to the cloud. In addition, so kind of touching base on that a little bit, right, is, not only is it easier to own and maintain a solution because a lot of that bulk work is done by AVEVA or whichever cloud provider you kind of go with. Um, but because it's cloud, it allows you to easily exchange information, access information. I don't need to VPN onto my company network to, gain access to certain VMs or computers that have that data. If I need to share data with external entities, whether that's um, uh, you know, different vendors, customers, suppliers, different water districts, right? I don't need to go through the hassle of, giving them a remote access login and or making sure, the networking side of things between those two entities is kind of set up properly, which can take time, adds overhead, that kind of thing. And really, provides the cloud provides a solution that's really scalable and flexible for however that operation kind of grows. Um, and kind of the foundation of that cloud platform for AVEVA is called Connect. So Connect is kind of the admin platform that, at AVEVA we have quite a few different options when it comes to cloud solutions. So solutions for, remote monitoring or, application analysis, enterprise visualization. We have AI and machine learning tools to create supervised machine learning models and better understand your data, provide early warning detections for asset failure, product quality, energy efficiency, are just to name a few. As well as, the kind of idea of Connect for AVEVA is not just a platform for AVEVA tools, but some of our partners have actually chosen to be a part of that ecosystem and and make their applications available on that Connect platform. So and the nice thing is that credentials and roles and access and user rights, all those, whether it's an AVEVA tool on Connect or a AVEVA partner tool on Connect, right? You can centrally manage those things, from an admin perspective and kind of accomplish some of those tasks that we just talked about, right? Aggregating, sharing, and contextualizing data, visualizing that data, whether it's self-service portals or predefined dashboards. We talked about the AI and machine learning analytics, and then having that open side of things where, whether end users or, AVEVA partners can build applications that are kind of hosted on the Connect platform. The nice thing though is, you know, it is incredibly flexible in terms of bringing in different data types into any and all of these solutions. So whether that's process data, from like a historian, for example, or maybe there's weather information, GIS information, maybe transactional type of information, whether it's, if you're in a manufacturing facility, it's MES related type of data. That type of information can all be kind of aggregated safely, securely in this Connect platform with a solution that's fitted for your use case. And we'll kind of go over those in a minute. Right, to kind of expanding on this kind of concept is any individual user might interact with different types of software throughout their workday, right? No, we don't, intend for this to be, an exact, daily schedule of a person's workday, but it's to kind of get the idea across of, we understand that there's different things and different tasks that a user might need to perform, and interact with different pieces of software. And, whether that's, getting information before you head into work, performing some sort of analytic, maybe on the HMI on premise, right? There's, you need to, change an equipment state, or, maybe there's, testing and experimentation or reviewing daily reports. And these types of things, really the goal is to really just collect information, visualize it, analyze it, and then ultimately act and improve on it. But these types of, tasks might interact with software, right? And some of that software might be better suited for cloud or mobile. And these types of solutions, which we're kind of talking about, and use cases, right? So, whether it's reporting, diagnosing problems, reporting, testing and experimentation, are just some types of examples where cloud might fit an organization. So starting off with our first example, we have, a simple but very powerful use case of aggregated data monitoring and reporting. So this might be a single site, maybe different areas of a site, or multiple sites, depending on the scope of your organization. And really aggregating that data into a solution, whether it's Connect Data Services, AVEVA Insight, or Connect Visualization, right? And importing it into that cloud platform, and then having tools to visualize, report, integrate with other third-party tools like Microsoft Power BI or Tableau, for example, right? For those, data scientists, or not even a data scientist, but anybody who wants to make some sort of dynamic report using with those tools that they're familiar with, right? You're not locked into having to, learn a new tool on the front end. Although those things can be provided, you can kind of have a easy way to access that information. And the nice thing is that I'm able to contextualize that information across, wherever that original data source is coming from. So even if, by themselves, the original data sources don't understand each other and aren't necessarily aware of each other, right? In Connect, right, I aggregate them and I can normalize them across, a common platform, make sense of that data against each other. And within these types of platforms, you can not only do reports and dashboards and things like that, but I can do like things like multi-conditional alerts where I set, hey, when the temperature is above a certain threshold and the pressures in between these two, low endpoint and high endpoint, I want to send a alert, whether it's a push notification to a mobile app or a email to a single or a group of users, and provide some, context and next steps of, hey, when you get this alert, you know, perform these steps or perform these actions to investigate the alert and whether or not it might lead to a work order for maintenance or being generated. So those types of things for use cases for aggregating that data. And just to kind of show you, what's possible, right? With Connect visualization, right? This sits on top of Connect Data Services, which is kind of the back end tool of one of the options for aggregating that data. It's available in self-service dashboards where you create these kind of charts and grids and graphics and kind of tile them on a dashboard or a single display. And it's really lots of drag and drop kind of interface. Or you can have predefined dashboards where you have kind of like a custom developed screen that's better suited for what you want the end product to be for the visualization component. Um, and and we'll go into a more detailed example on the next use case of what that might look like. But basically, sometimes the user requirements of these screens and dashboards might be a little bit more complex. And because this is kind of a low-code environment, it doesn't provide as much flexibility as some of our users might like. So there's options of kind of customizing that experience in terms of how you want that dashboard and interface to look like. So this is another example of AVEVA Insight. Again, another option for displaying information. So, basically what we're showing here is a map graphic with some, process graphics overlaid on top of the map. But then in addition, we've overlaid different charts and line charts and bar charts on top of this. So you can kind of, mix and mold and meld these kind of dashboards to kind of contextualize a particular set of information, whether it's related to a particular asset, whether it's related to an area or an entire plant, right? You can kind of create this, with the tools at hand, as you see fit. The nice thing about Insight as well is, if you're an existing AVEVA user of SCADA, you can, and you're using, in the past they were called orchestra graphics. The modern name is industrial graphics. But if you're leveraging those high performance graphics on your SCADA systems and want them available in the cloud, you can publish those graphics to the cloud and consume them and use them as a visualization tools within Insight as well. So nice way to keep the visualization standard, across, whether they're looking at an HMI that's on-premise and isolated from the internet, or they're consuming a similar graphic in the cloud, and it still makes sense to them. They're used to it, they know how to navigate it and consume that kind of information. So enterprise visualization is maybe another use case, and really it's more just I would kind of identify it as an expanded version of that first use case of aggregating data. So I'm adding information that might be maps and GIS information, weather data, financial information, maybe 1D, 2D, or 3D engineering document type information that I want to bring in context with my process information. And again, maybe it's also event-based information. Like if I'm using MES and I want to understand and aggregate maybe my OEE or my line equipment utilization or my downtime states and reasons and KPIs and my resource inventory, whether that's my raw materials or produced and finished goods. I can kind of aggregate all that complexity of information into one platform and visualize it. And there's nice, easy tools to consume that information on the visualization side. So it's not, I have to create a custom graphic to visualize my MES data, or I have to create a custom graphic to visualize my 3D drawings or my 2D drawings. I can containerize it into kind of, widgets and display that type of information in kind of a single pane of glass. And, with the option of creating a predefined dashboard, I can really customize this to how I want this to look, right? And kind of create kind of a really a true, kind of single pane of glass, whether it's kind of a SCADA, read-only SCADA in the cloud, right? Where I'm at, not just SCADA, but, aggregating all different types of information into a web-based interface. So here's just a screenshot example of kind of, what that might look like and, the level of, customization that I want to create for, that enterprise visualization use case. So prescriptive set point optimization. So sometimes I want to, go beyond multi-conditional alerts and, where I know the certain conditions that I want to trigger a alert, whether again, that's through a push notification through my phone or an email, as an example where I want to, maybe I have an idea of the related parameters, but I don't really know the exact thresholds and conditions where I want to generate an alert. And that's kind of the use case where, you take a little bit of, subject matter expertise and information to generate these multivariate machine learning models to analyze all those different, potentially related relationships and then get a baseline. And once things start to slightly deviate from baseline, produce those warnings, early warning detection notifications, and in emails, and that's and next steps on investigation to maybe investigate an asset, maybe provide a different control system set point, because again, it's not necessarily just catching early warnings. It's maybe if I'm making a particular good, it could be that, hey, the current course that we're going towards is not going to generate ideal good product quality, and we want to make a change to the control system to course correct and make sure that we're getting the highest throughput of good product available as just another use case, right? Again, this could be for changing control systems, set points and parameters on energy usage and making sure that, the operations is consuming, energy in the most efficient way. As just some examples. And so this is kind of a snapshot into, just the model building of that tool. And here's kind of an example of product quality from a mixer. So you have kind of the predicted versus the actual, and you have the kind of out of bounds and lower bound and upper bound limits. And then when the actual gets outside of those, right, is kind of when those early warning detections would be sent off, for maybe a investigation, control system, set point change, that sort of thing, right? Just further action, ultimately. And the one of the last cases, use cases, definitely not the only other last use case, but is data sharing. And as I mentioned before, right, sometimes the complexity or just kind of the red tape that can go into making data available to other users that are external to my organization, right? Whether it's a customer, equipment vendor, supplier, maybe a third-party analytics company that I'm leveraging, or if I'm water and wastewater, maybe it's a different district that I need to share information on well statuses or pump statuses that, because all these districts are intertwined, I need to share that type of information, right? Well, I can easily do so and securely do so and with through Connect Data Services. And there's a feature called Communities where I am able to just pick the data points that I want to share. I don't have to expose everything. And I can make them available to that external entity, and they can consume that information and process it however they like, and however they need to. And And if and or when that relationship were to dissolve or end or change, and I no longer need to stop sharing that information, I can quickly flip a switch and, so to speak, and cut off that sharing. That data is no longer being sent to that external user, and they no longer have access to it going forward. And so the ease of which that can be set up, maintained, and implemented is really where the value that we see a lot of our customers these days are open to, and considering the use of data services. So really kind of managing all those relationships. We understand that, our users don't operate in a vacuum just by themselves, right? There's more to, just, collecting data. It's also sharing that information, whether it's a contract manufacturer or supplier, customer, so to speak, and providing a nice and easy way to do so. So with that, I will, if there's any questions, let them come in, but if not, thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tim. Great job. I don't see any questions on in the chat regarding Connect, so we'll keep moving along here.
Cool.
Next
One thing I do want to add is
uh,
if you are interested in, these cloud solutions, there's free trials and free ways to get stood up and get going. Even with Connect Data Services, you get 200 data points free. So, the first 200 data points or data tags, so to speak, are on us. And you can get going, at no cost to you, no risk. Just implement it, test it, get used to it, and see if it's right for your organization.